Hi, it's Paul Antonelli here with another episode of the Ideal Business podcast. Thanks for joining me today. What I wanted to do today was to talk a little bit about the concept of lifetime value. I was talking to a client the other day, and one of the challenges that a lot of businesses face is trying to understand how much you can spend to acquire a new client or sell a particular product, and also if you're in a sort of a business where you provide a service which is has a low lifetime value, you're constantly looking for new clients, which can be a bit of a hassle, can actually become a bit of a challenge in that process. So understanding lifetime value concept is really important. We call it LTV, if you haven't heard of that concept before. What it basically means, it's fairly simple, is like when you bring a client on board, what is your lifetime value concept, lifetime value average at the moment? So, and the way you could do that is you could look at your clients, say going back for the last, say 12 months, number of clients, look at the revenue generated from those clients, divide one by the other, assuming that those clients are no longer with you, and you'll get a lifetime value. Now, there's a couple of things that are important to understand. Firstly, it's important that you know what your lifetime value is with clients. So if you don't have that information, then work it out. And a lifetime value is calculated, you have to calculate from clients that are no longer active with you, because if they're still active with you and they're still paying you money, they still have a lifetime with you. So the number one step to developing a lifetime value is to understand what that is. And it's a sort of the purse or the wallet amount that a client spends with you, and it could be over 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, 10 months. So find out, if you haven't done it before, try to understand what your lifetime value is. And you might find that, typically most businesses have different groups of clients. You could have clients that are commercial clients, maybe residential or consumer clients, and you have different lifetime values for each of those groups. So step one in trying to get a grip on the lifetime value approach is to understand exactly where you are at. Now, the second part of the lifetime value is to the higher, ideally for a lot of businesses, it would be great to have a high lifetime value. And why is that? The reason for that is that you can then take a little bit more time and spend a little bit more money in acquiring clients. So for example, if you sell a program or a course or a particular service and it's $4,000 as a total value, you might decide that the total cost for you to acquire that client might be 10% of that or 15% of that. So it might be $500 or $750. Depending on how much margin you have, you sort of set yourself a particular maximum spend, which can be a little bit challenging depending on where you're trying to sort of generate the revenue. But if you sort of can look at a greater lifetime value, then you've got more money to play with. So you might actually spend a couple of grand, $2,000 or $3,000 to do that. So I'll give you an example of lifetime value. One of my businesses, ResiCert, which is an inspection business, we sell a franchise. Now, when you're looking at marketing and spending money on advertising, we often focus on the initial sale. That doesn't take into account the back end or the ongoing lifetime value. So let's look at a franchise sale. So in our business or in other businesses as well. Like if we look at a franchise sale, in our business at the moment, it's around $70,000. So when we sell a franchise, there's $70,000 of value or of revenue that we attract. When a licensee comes on board with us, there's certain fees that we acquire from that client. They pay us monthly fees, and there's also a percentage of the revenue generated. So that lifetime value, when we calculated, it worked out roughly, if they pay fees of around $6,000 a year, and the average retention time is about 5 years, so that's $30,000 in service fees over a period of 5 years. And the revenue, typically a franchisee will put through something like about 100 grand on average a year, so that's 500 grand, which we get to retain 30%. That's 150,000. So when you look at the lifetime value, it's 150 grand, 30,000 in fees, 70,000. So it's about $200,000, the lifetime value for us with a franchisee. So we look at that and we go, well, that's pretty good. So, for us to be able to acquire, bring on board a franchisee, do all the marketing, the ad spend, if we can do that for around $5,000 to $7,000, then it makes sense. But if I just looked at the franchise fee, I might have a different perspective on that. And so understanding in any business the lifetime value of your clients. And part of your strategy might be to look at how you can increase that lifetime value. And you can do that through, you might have a base service, but can you, through talking to your clients and finding out what it is that they need and want or additional services, can you actually continue to offer them services that you're not currently offering them? So for example, you might find you take a client to a certain point, and some of those clients might go, well, what's next? And so then you might develop a next step with your clients. And then once they get to the end of that, they go, what's next? And you can continue to do that. So I was talking to a good friend of mine, a guy that I've been helping with his business, Jarks, and he was talking about how, that lifetime value, he runs a digital marketing agency, was quite low. And so he started looking closely at how we could do a phase 1 and a phase 2 and a phase 3 and provide ongoing services to clients. And so he's now been moving towards, I think his average lifetime value, I don't know the exact number, it was about 4,000 or 5,000. Now he's moving towards an average lifetime value of about 50 to 60,000. So it changes the entire process of him engaging with clients. And how he goes about onboarding clients and looking at retaining clients, because it's a lot easier to provide more services to existing clients than it is to go and find a new client, which takes a lot of effort. So in that process, and it's a little bit like a funnel approach. You don't necessarily expect that all your clients will move through. So you might have, say 20 clients. Of those 20 clients, 50% move into the next step, and of those 50% move into the third step, and 50% move into the next step. And so you end up with different revenue streams for each of these phases, but you also end up with, as you provide a high level of service and a higher cost fee, you end up with less clients that you can service really well. So it's worth understanding in your business how you can use the idea of lifetime value to develop product or services that you can extend with your clients, and also look at how you could increase the average sale to clients for people that you bring on board, and that'll enable you to be able to spend more money on attracting, and that, when I say spend more money, it could include, whether you're using digital media or what lead system you're using, social media. You might be having someone who manages that. You might have salespeople on commissions. There's a whole capture. So you might end up, if your lifetime value can be $100,000, you might be happy to spend $10,000 on all those components to acquire that sale. Where if your lifetime value is $5,000, you just can't do it. It's just too expensive, and you'll go broke. So if you haven't implemented that process in your business, looking really closely at lifetime value, it's a little bit harder if you're a business that's just starting up, because you haven't quite got that data. But if you're a business that's been around for 5-10 years, you've got the information. I'd really encourage you to go back and look at your information, look at the revenue flow, look at the number of clients, and calculate a lifetime value, and determine whether it would be better for your business. And it's not necessarily something that all businesses want to do, but would it be better for your business to be able to increase the lifetime value? And you might say, look, ideally I'd like to achieve a lifetime value of $20,000 with my clients. And how could you go about doing that? What other services and products do they need and want that you could provide? And so you can go deeper and deeper with your clients. Because part of the thing with clients, and you will have experienced this, is that, when they start with you, it's a big step. They don't know whether you're going to deliver, how it's going to work, whether you can do what you said you're going to do. Once you've demonstrated the value to them and you've built trust, then it's a lot easier for them to understand what your capability is and that you can deliver on what you've promised. And so it makes a lot of sense to be able to really work closely with them for a longer period of time. And when I look at the businesses that I've built, I really look at how we can build out a bit of a lifetime value concept, because you end up building momentum. It's a little bit, at the front end, it's a bit It's a very, almost like an exponential growth curve. It takes a bit of time to get traction. Once you've gotten that traction, you'll find your business will take off much, much quicker, particularly if you've got a system and a model to develop that. So look, so lifetime value, it's a great driver for business. I'd really encourage you to understand the lifetime value for your clients and think about, if it's applicable to you, how you can increase that lifetime value and work potentially with less clients and make more money, which is always a good thing. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to catching up with you at the next podcast. Ciao for now.